Thank you for listening to WZNC LP Bethlehem, North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, and streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. You're tuned into North of Normal. I'm your host, Amanda McKeen. This show is really just a space for honest, human conversations. It's a place where local leaders, business owners, and community voices can show up as they are, share their stories, and talk about what actually matters, not to promote, but to connect. Because there's a lot of good here in the North Country, and it's worth slowing down long enough to hear it. We're live on air every Tuesday from 10 to noon here at NCCR on Main Street in Littleton. And today I'm joined by Barbara Emmons of the Healthy Rhino. Barbara, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Barbara and I were just chatting a little bit, and I was explaining to her how, every Tuesday right before we go live, I experience nervousness. And that, it seems silly at this point. It's been almost a year of doing this show, but I always just feel very honored to have people on that are going to share their stories. And that nervousness comes from wanting to provide the absolute best space that I can for people to feel comfortable to be open. So thank you for saying yes to my invite, Barbara. Usually what I like to do at the beginning of my show, for those of you who are listening for the first time, is I like to explain how I know my guests. This show is by invite only, so usually I'm reaching out, inviting somebody to come on that I have made some sort of connection with. Barbara, what do you remember about our first meeting?
Well, I remember that I had been following you from afar for a long time, and I remember that you posted something, and my response to your post was, "I need you in my life." And it was pretty out there. I hit send, and then I was like, "Oh my Lord, I just told her I needed her in my life." And then you walked through the doors of my store, and I thought, wow, she's going to grace me with her presence. And I remember we hugged, and I remember when I was nervous and I wasn't quite sure what you did and what you were going to do for me. I just knew I needed you in my life.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It felt very personal.
Yes, and it was personal. And I think there was a level of connection there that was unspoken, and it's because my boyfriend and partner, Justin.
Yes.
And you guys have known each other for a very long time.
Yes.
So I knew a lot about you just through him. And I'm guessing you knew something about me through him as well.
Yes.
And actually, the first time we met wasn't that day. It was in 2019. It was, I was working at Horizons Engineering right up the road from the Healthy Rhino. And I had been hired as an admin assistant. And someone had told me about the Healthy Rhino, so I would walk over during lunch breaks and go buy myself a Lara bar. And so I knew you from that time, and I just knew you as the lady who worked at the Healthy Rhino. I don't think I even knew you were the owner, but I would buy Lara bars from you. And your store looked a lot different.
Yeah,
at that point
back then.
Was it bigger?
It was
in
bigger.
2019.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was bigger.
Yeah, so that was my first awareness of you. But years went by, and now we're in 2026, and when was it, like a month and a half ago, that you and I basically reconnected in your store, and figured out how we were going to work together. So full disclosure for everybody listening, Barbara is a client of mine. Not everybody that comes on this show is, but we have a special relationship at this point. Very meaningful.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of the things that I Barbara, I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but one thing I wanted to do to really honor you and your work in our community is to read a couple of the absolutely beautiful Google reviews that have come in for the Healthy Rhino recently from clients that have been long-standing, and they just so perfectly describe who you are to this community that I feel like it would be a shame if I didn't read them.
Okay.
Kathy says, Barbara met my husband the week she opened, which was 32 years ago. At 97 years old, he is a grand example of healthy living. He walks in the shop. She shows what he uses and has his selections within minutes and evokes a great smile and usually a hug. She knows her products and shares her knowledge with customers. We love the Healthy Rhino. Sue says, best store ever. Barb knows her products and shares her knowledge. Just ask. Love the Rhino. Tish says, Healthy Rhino is an excellent source for the nutrition and supplements you need. The owner has worked very hard for many years to bring high-quality items to a storefront for easy access. The owner also brings an extra level of care to assure customers receive above-average personalized service. So awesome.
It is.
And I could go on. I mean, there's just this huge outpouring of love and support from the community, from people who have been impacted by your service and what you have brought to this community for 32 years now. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It sounds weird when you say 32 years.
I'm sure.
It sounds very strange.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. More than half my life.
Yeah. So there's a lot I don't know about you, Barbara, and I was hoping that you could give me and all of our listeners a better idea of how you ended up here, how you ended up being in business for 32 years, going on your 33rd. What made you who you are today? Those are all really big existential questions, but let's start with the basics. Where were you born?
I was born right across the river, way far away in St. Johnsbury, Vermont.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my hometown. Born and raised. Lived there my whole entire school years and didn't go away to school. So I've lived in this immediate area almost my entire life.
Okay. So what was it like growing up in St. J?
Those were the good old days. I come from a big family. I have 4 brothers and 4 sisters.
Whoa.
And everything was family. Everything was family. We played outside till it was dark. We played marbles. We played softball. Our neighbors were our family. Everybody's parents watched out for everybody else. It was simple. We were not a wealthy family. My dad was a super hard worker, and he had the best gardens in the town of St. Johnsbury. And that's what we ate from. We ate from gardens, and that's what we did in the summer. We planted, we weeded, we shucked, we snipped, we put up fences. That's what we did as a family.
Okay. Did your dad sell to the community, or?
He supplied a lot to the community.
He did?
He didn't sell. We canned
a
lot. We had a root cellar, and
nice.
We had an entire room downstairs. But he was a very giving person, so I think we sold zucchini and summer squash off the front lawn, and we sold night crawlers. So we used to night crawler.
Yeah.
But mostly to feed our family.
Okay.
And he loved gardening.
That's special to grow up that way.
Yeah.
I can definitely identify with some of those experiences.
Yeah.
You talk about your dad. What was your mom up to?
My mom, she was an RN.
Okay.
But she married my dad and started to have children, so she stayed home and was a stay-at-home mom. My mom, I don't know how she ever did it, 9 children. She had 11 pregnancies. So she was pregnant 11 times, 1 miscarriage and 1 other one that went to full term and only lived for 24 hours.
Okay.
So every 2 years or less, she had another baby. So my mom was pretty busy.
Yeah. Where are you in the lineup?
I am the baby.
You are?
I was the mistake at the end, which was the best thing ever. Yeah, there was 4 years in between me and my next sister up. They thought they were done, and then along came me.
Okay, so you're the baby.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know any different. I was going to ask you what's it like being the baby, but you don't really know.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably had several mothers, if you had if you had 4 sisters.
I did. My oldest sister, Teresa, was like my second mother for the first couple of years of my life. And then she went off to college. So, yeah, that's what we did in our family. My mother would have another baby, and my aunt lived upstairs. So she would let my aunt have that sister for a couple of years and then give her back. We'd be in the same house, but that's what they did. You just stuck together. Family was family, and you just helped. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at what point did you leave St. J?
Oh, goodness. I took a little jaunt to New Mexico when, 1984. I left and went to New Mexico. I just recently got married, so I went out that way, and it was way too far away. I was away from my sisters who were getting married and having babies, and I didn't have money to travel back and forth, so that didn't last very long. So I came back in 86, at the end of 86.
With your husband?
With my husband at the time.
Okay.
Yes.
Did he have family out there?
He did. His brother was out there, so he went out to work for his brother.
Oh, man. So you were out there, like you had grown up with this tight-knit family and then suddenly just disconnected.
Yeah, it was too much for me. It was way too much for me to go that far away.
Yeah, that must have been really painful in a way.
It was painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So what was it like coming back?
Oh, my gosh. Coming back was a little bit of a blur, and I had to try to find my space and my spot. And I had a lot of inner turmoil at the time, so I didn't stay with that husband. And it was nice coming back because then my nieces and nephews were being born, and I love babies. So that was my joy, watching my nieces and nephews be born. And I ended up getting a really good job at Vermont Tap and Dye.
Tap and Dye?
Vermont Tap and Dye. It was a very big tap and dye company in Lynnville, Vermont. And I got hired on as the secretary. I answered phones. And I really did a good job.
Yeah.
Pat myself in the back. And so they were looking for a new person in the sales department. So they moved me upstairs into the sales department.
Yeah.
And I just thrived. I loved it. I was there for 5 years.
Barbara, I feel like, I don't know if this is silly, but I have no idea what tap and dye is.
So they're tools. So you have to tap a hole, the little things that a screw goes in. So it's a machinery factory, but it was huge and very well known. You'll have to Google it. The building is no longer there, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
They tore it down. But I worked there with people who had worked there for eons.
Okay.
Like you're born in Lynnville, you work at Vermont Tap and Dye.
Nice. So probably quite a few people know what that is. Yeah.
And I got the second biggest account. I had the Caterpillar tractor account.
Whoa. I know what that is.
Yeah, so you have to keep their service level. I think it was at 94% and above.
Yeah.
So that's where I learned service level, 94% and above.
Interesting. And that definitely plays a role into how you are today.
Never thought of that till just this moment.
I love this.
Never.
I love that. So tell me, what are the things that it taught you about customer service specifically?
That I did not like working in a cubicle.
Oh.
That I didn't sit still well.
Yeah.
Which today still that holds true. That it was very hard for me to conform because I was the youngest by far of anybody who worked there. And those people a lot of times were resentful of someone coming in with bright colored clothing and new ideas and
energy,
decorating their brown cubicle with cute little sayings. And it was great, and the challenge was awesome, but the atmosphere was nothing I wanted to be in. Nothing.
You're like this little flower that's trying to bloom in the dark.
The crack of a sidewalk.
Yeah, I can totally picture that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been in positions in the past that were probably quite similar. So where did you go from there after you got that experience? What made you leave?
Another challenge in my life.
Okay.
And I decided to take a position with one of Vermont Tap and Dye's vendors. So I moved to Ohio. I did a lot of trying to get away from myself.
Huh.
So I moved to Ohio that time.
Okay.
And that was very short-lived.
Did you go to Ohio by yourself?
I did. And it was very scary. And I wasn't in a good place. And I had a really good job. But I just couldn't focus.
Yeah.
I couldn't focus at all. I had to move back. So I moved back. I mean, I don't even know. At that point in time, it might have been 3 months. And I moved back.
Oh, it was pretty quick.
Very quick.
Okay, so you knew.
It was not a good situation, so I had to move back.
Good. I'm glad you moved back.
Yeah.
So at this point, you divorced from your husband.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yep. Yes.
And you tried Ohio.
Yep.
And it didn't work.
Didn't work.
What was next?
What was next was, you don't know this part about me, but there was a second husband along there. So that second husband, when I came back, was not a very kind person. So I had to leave that relationship very quickly. And I had to leave my job in New Hampshire because it wasn't safe for me here. So I went back to my parents' house in St. Johnsbury.
Yeah.
And was without a job. So I went shopping with my mother one day at Natural Provisions, natural food store
in St.
Johnsbury.
Okay.
And my mother said, "Oh, you should see if they're looking for help." And I said, "I don't know anything about natural foods. What do you mean?" She says, "Well, just ask." So she's scooping her oats and her raisins out, and I happened to ask if they had an opening. And the owner, with the big long beard and his flowy handmade pants, said, "As a matter of fact, we have somebody leaving tomorrow on maternity leave. What do you know?" And I froze. And I said, "I don't know anything." And he went, "Perfect. When do you want to start?"
Oh, my word.
And that's how my whole venture in the health food industry started.
How old were you at that point?
That was 1990, November of 1991.
Okay.
Like right before Thanksgiving week. So like November 20th of 1991.
Yeah. And who was the gentleman that you were speaking to?
Lynn Brown.
Lynn Brown.
It was a husband and wife, both Lynn Browns. Lynn Brown married Lynn Brown.
No way.
Lynn's Browns. And they had the most successful little hole-in-the-wall, real health food store. I always say real because you scooped stuff out of buckets and you sold bulk tofu. And we sold seitan patties and homemade tahini and tahini sandwiches. Oh, you name it, we made it. And they did an amazing, there was nothing else. They were the only place around.
Yeah. So you were speaking to the owner.
I spoke to the owner.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And he gave you a chance.
He gave me a job. I don't remember if I I don't think I came. I think I started on Monday. I don't remember that part, but I remember he said Jenny was leaving that next day on maternity leave. And I was like, wow, what are the chances?
Yeah.
So that's fate. That's what happens in my life. And, you know, those circumstances, those connections,
Yeah.
as you would say.
Yes. So you stayed with your parents for a while.
I stayed with my parents for a while, yes.
And you were working at this Natural Provisions.
Yes.
Are they still in business?
So they are not. After 6 months of being there, they decided to move to Oregon. So they left me the store.
Oh, man.
They left me the store to run, and we ran it cooperatively. So I was the manager. I had 5 people underneath me. But every Friday morning from 8 to 9, we'd have a meeting, and we would talk about what we were going to do, who was going to have what for a budget that week. We gave each other raises. If somebody needed some time off, somebody else filled in, and it rolled so smooth. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And made the owners tons of money. I loved it. I would stay. They had an apartment upstairs, and I would stay over just so I could study the books more, and I could be more knowledgeable on what was on sale. I became a superb sale shopper.
Nice.
So I could get them the best deal on the oats, and we'd make them the most money, and then they'd reward us because we were making them tons of money. So after about a little over a year and a half, they came back and decided they wanted to sell, and so I tried to buy their business.
Yeah.
It was just the store, not the building. So it wasn't, at that point, conducive of me to do that because it was too much money for what they wanted. And at that point, yet again, I was engaged to be married. And that gentleman lived in Littleton.
Okay.
So I said, why don't I look in Littleton? And there happened to be a space available.
At Parker's Marketplace?
Parker's Marketplace. It was a little tiny place owned by Barbara and David Houle, which was called Garden of Eden. And they were ready to, go their separate ways and get rid of the store. And they were pretty much fizzling out. It was December of 93. And I walked in one day and walked around, and then I contacted the realtor, and on January 14th of 1994, I signed the papers and owned the store. So it was a whirlwind of 2 years, right?
Absolutely. So you were engaged to be married, and you signed a lease to open a business here in Littleton.
Yes.
Did you move into a house in Littleton?
I did.
Yeah?
I did. I moved. My fiance at the time he lived in his family home. He had purchased his family home that he grew up in.
Okay.
So I eventually moved over here. I don't remember when that shift happened, but I eventually moved over here and just put my whole heart and soul into getting that store painted and filled. And I didn't have very much money because the loan at that time, if I told you how little it was, you would laugh. And at the very end, it was like a week before the store opened, I realized I needed a little bit more inventory, so I sold my car. And took that cash and bought more inventory.
You sold your car?
I sold my car. And then I just walked to work for 8 months.
That's awesome.
Yep. I just would walk to work, and we were open 7 days a week.
Yeah.
7 days a week for 17 and a half years. But I worked the first, 9.5 or 10 months, 7 days a week, walking to work, walking home.
By yourself, too? Like, you didn't have any staff?
Pretty close. No, I didn't have any staff at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just myself.
What did you envision when you decided to open your own place? What were you picturing?
Well, most of the customers that were coming to Natural Provisions were all coming from here.
From Littleton?
Yep.
Okay.
They were driving over. They were coming. And I just noticed if I listened to what they wanted, and I had it the next time they were there, they were that much happier.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I can do that. At that time it wasn't my money, so I could do that.
Yeah.
What I envisioned when I opened my store was being able to give them that same customer service and having it be so much closer. I don't know if I thought long term. I don't know if back then I was 29 years old. I had been all over the place. I'd been through some pretty traumatic things. I'd been through some really happy things. I'd been through, some vacationing and fun times. And now I was buckled down to a store 7 days a week.
Yeah, that's a big change.
It was a big change.
Do you remember at any point having doubts or regrets about making that kind of commitment?
Not till later. I think at the beginning I was pink clouding it for a long time. I really was. I was pink clouding people. So first of all, this doesn't just happen by circumstance. This community is like no other community on the planet. That comes from my heart. The support that I have gotten through every single thing that I've gone through personally or as a business, my community supports me. Some of them may have wandered a little bit and then had to have me prove myself again, and they've come back. But I have to tell you, I have literally the best customers on the planet. And it's this tight-knit family, encouraging, supportive community that does that. So no matter what I put on my shelves, if I didn't have the community to support me in times where I didn't have money to put stuff on my shelves, or I couldn't put in that new item yet, they still came. They still came. They still cared. They still do.
That's really special.
It doesn't just come from me either, because my sales reps say the same thing. You're blowing it out of the water, Barbara. And I'm like, my community supports me.
What do you think resonated for people with you? Because not everybody here gets that type of support.
I believe in 150% customer service. It's super important to me.
Yeah.
I also am not money driven. Money doesn't drive me. I didn't come from money. I've never been given any money. Every penny in my pocket is because I worked for it. And those pennies in my pocket don't fill my heart. So I think not being money driven gives me so much to flourish on, like things that are way more important. Like hopefully that really helps what their condition is. Hopefully this may help with their sadness. Hopefully, they'll come back and talk to me about it again. I really hope I hear from them again. Those are the things
I think
that matter.
The one thing that was so evident, seeing all of those reviews come in from your customers, was just how much you really actually cared about them as people. That just, our listeners, you guys should Google the Healthy Rhino and just read a couple of the reviews, because, when so many people say the same thing, you have to believe that it's true. It's not like they've all just banded together and decided to create this big lie about you. And that caring for your community, it sounds like it came from the way you grew up in your family.
I'd like to say yes. I'd really like to say yes. I didn't have a real warm, fuzzy family. We had a close-knit family.
Okay.
But when I came along, remember, there was 8 others. So it was a lot of work, and I felt very less than at times. But I've learned through trials and tribulations in my life that I can create my own happiness. I can create my own fuzzy feeling. I can create my own acceptance. And it took me a long time. So I wasn't always really good at customer service. There was times when I was very into Barbara, and I was very consumed with demons in my life. that consumed me without me even having a choice. And when those were gone and I did all the work there, I found myself. And when I found myself, I know my worth. And I've never from that day let anybody tell me that I'm not worthy, even through all the really hard times. But I'd rather give what I was taught to someone else. Mm-hmm. So when you come through my door, I care about what you say to me. Mm-hmm. I care about it. I might have before thought that I cared, but I care. And it's, I find that the more I give, whether it's a word, a hug, a warm feeling, the proper vitamin, the salve that actually works on your rash, whatever it is worth way more than any dollar in my pocket. I guess that's it. I just giving for me is my happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit of healing.
Very much healing.
Yeah.
Very much healing.
So, can I ask what big events have happened in your life that have brought you to this point? Because usually it involves something painful, right?
Yeah. I've been through a lot of really painful things, but I think everybody has. That's life.
Yes.
That's life.
Yeah.
So I was, I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic. And I didn't get struck sober. I had some pretty big things happen back in 2007, that changed my life drastically. And I never again drank or used again. I surrounded myself with people just like me who helped me rise from the bottom of an endless pit that was continuously falling downward. I learned how to handle every day. I learned how to handle every situation. And I have never found it necessary since that day, back in August of 2007, to need any kind of mind-altering anything to get through anything that's happening. That was the first.
Yeah.
That was the first very, very, very big thing that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a direct result of changing my life and having those big things happen, I started doing programs in jail so I could help other women. And I was guided there by people who had gone there before me, and I learned what they did and how they supported, and I was just, my heart just bled for them. You know, young women and girls, just girls who had just couldn't stay out of jail and couldn't put the drink down, or, you know, couldn't stop shoplifting, or couldn't, and it was my favorite 2 nights of the week. I would go in every Thursday and Friday night. And I met a woman, a young girl, I should say, and her name was Erica, and she was pregnant. And she had been in and out. I would go in 1 week and she would be getting let out on Monday, and I'd come back in the next week and she'd be in there on a Friday. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, she's sitting in jail and she's pregnant. And I couldn't even fathom that, right? And then I found out that she was related to my husband.
Oh.
And so in all of that, I became very close with her.
Yeah.
Very, very close with her. And in that, she left. She had that baby. She came back, did her time, and then left. And I didn't see her for a while. And then the next time she came back, and it was in a Friday night. I'd gone in on a Friday night. She was there again. And I hugged her. And she told me she was pregnant again. And it concerned me. And because she was pregnant, there was a new program called drug court. And they allowed some people to be on the outside and to work a program, a very strict program, and be monitored. And so she asked me to be her sponsor. So,
okay.
So we got very connected. Very connected. And do you want me to fast forward?
No.
No.
What does it look like to be a sponsor?
So you just guide and help and lend people what, I guess I could say it as simple as telling them the way it was before, telling them what happened, and telling them what it's like now.
Oh, for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And guiding by example and listening.
Yeah.
But I ended up being her support person in this program.
Okay.
Kind of took a bunch of young women under my wing with this program. I think there was like 6 of them, but she was one of them. And she wasn't able to change. She wasn't able to make some different choices and decisions. And she was pretty wrapped up in a lot of things that had happened to her. And long story short, she had this beautiful baby boy. He knew my voice. I saw him 3 hours after he was born. And he was screaming as he was getting his bath, and I knew the nurse, and she let me kind of peek my head in and take a picture, and I knew that he was named Gabriel, and I said, "Oh, baby Gabriel, you're beautiful," and I was crying. I love babies, and he stopped crying.
At your voice,
yeah, and she said, "Oh my God, he knows your voice," and I'll never forget that feeling.
Yeah.
I'm not able to have children. So that was all I wanted my whole life. And when I knew that I couldn't have children, it was the most painful thing. And at that moment, I felt something in my heart that I had never felt in my life, ever. And I vowed to her and to him to forever and ever keep him safe. And that's what I've done, because now he's my son.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's some pieces missing.
There are some pieces
that
missing.
we need to
a lot of pieces.
Connect here.
Yeah.
When did he become yours?
So, the drug court system let her come to my house when they left the hospital, so that I knew that she would be at my house and they would both be safe.
Okay.
Because she was living in a homeless shelter.
Okay.
So they came to the house, and on the second night on Saturday night, she asked if he could sleep in my room because she needed to get some sleep. And I said, absolutely. And I'll never forget, I never shut my eyes. Oh my gosh, I never shut my eyes that whole night. And so I stayed very close. I brought her to the programs she needed to go to. I brought her to the doctors. And when she was doing good and doing the right things, she would contact me all the time. And when she wasn't, I wouldn't hear from her. And so there came a time at the end of February, this was January 4th, he was born. At the end of February, I wasn't hearing from her, and I was very nervous. And some things were happening. So she was going to suffer some consequences. And I just wanted him safe. So he would come with me at the store certain nights that she had to do these group meetings. And so I had him with me. And she ran down the hall and got him.
Yeah.
And said, I'll call you tomorrow. And I didn't, there was a lot going on. And so that night she ended up being arrested for the last time. And there was a gentleman who was claiming to be his dad that took him from her when they arrested her, so they couldn't take the baby from him. So he left with the baby, with Gabriel. And my world crumbled down.
Yeah.
And so I did all I could to find him on social media, which I did, and told him that I had his formula and his clothes and all of those things, and that I knew his routine and I'd be there to help. And he said, "What are you doing this weekend? I have somewhere to be. Could you watch him this weekend?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I drove to where he was and got him. And then the weather turned yucky and there was a huge snowstorm. So we were all supposed to meet at the courthouse on Monday morning, and they canceled court.
Okay. So you had him.
So I had him this whole time.
Yep.
And on Tuesday morning, I had some agencies contact me and said the very best thing for you to do is to go to the court. So I went to the court and got filed an ex parte emergency order to become his guardian. So that's when it started. He never went anywhere without me.
Yeah.
And then it was almost 4 years of long, grueling, heartbreaking, scary court dates, scary situations, threats from jail, crooked lawyers, and all the while me knowing I just needed to keep him safe. He deserved the best.
So who was trying to take him?
His mom.
Okay.
His mom.
Even after everything that you had done for her?
Yeah. She just, first of all, I loved her. I loved her because she brought him into this world.
Yeah.
So I might have not liked what she did, but I loved her. And I knew that I chose to have some connection with her. I still wanted her to get better. I wanted him to have the best of both worlds. I didn't want her to just go, "Oh, I'm a failure again," and then go back out there again. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't do the work for her. So she just was losing touch. She was losing her hold. And so she would try to put another motion in so that she could have somebody else take him, because she knew I was not going to let my guard down. Mm-hmm. Like, I was protecting him no matter what. Mm-hmm. So I did everything I was supposed to do. And it took almost 4 years. It was November 6th of 2014 was the official adoption date. It took almost 4 years, and I don't know how many court dates, and I didn't have money to be able to hire a lawyer.
Yeah.
So I had these lawyer customers that used to slip me notes, and they would say, "Look up RSA number such and such," look up, and I would do that, and I would read on it, and I would realize that I could do this, I could do that. So I was my own lawyer.
Wow. So your customers were supporting you.
My customers
in
were
that
supporting.
Way. Wow.
Yeah. So it was a long, grueling, tiring, all the while trying to run my business.
Yeah.
So my employees were amazing. I didn't know how to raise a baby. So I would strap him on the front of me, and I would get a truck shipment, and I would be unloading 50-pound bags of oats with this baby on the front. And somebody finally said, "How about a backpack?" And I said, "Okay." So yeah. I would put him in a backpack. I had a pack and play out back.
Yeah.
I just, again, I have so many people in my support circle. There was 2 people that were willing to watch him after he got about 8 months old in their homes. Mm-hmm. One of them came to my home, and one of them watched him in her home so that I didn't have to put him in a daycare because I was afraid she was going to take him.
Yeah.
And there was the alleged dad that was still out there.
Yep.
So, you know, I just wanted to keep him safe. And I was very petrified.
I'm sure.
So, again, every time I thought I was at my wit's end and I couldn't do it anymore, a perfect situation would unfold. Every single time, a perfect situation would unfold. And then I would just go with that until that didn't work any longer. And then there would be an opening at a daycare, miraculously, 2 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow.
So I got to become a mom. When I adopted him, I was 50.
Yep.
So I was worried how I was going to do all this alone. But I've never had to be alone. Ever. Ever. He's had so many people, and he still does today, that support him 150%.
How old was he when you adopted him officially?
He was 3 3/4. And he sat right up there in the judge's chair, and the judge, had him go sit on his lap and hugged him. And, and then we had an official name change after that. Okay. So I could go back to my maiden name, and he could have Emmons, and we both had the same last name.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Wow. I imagine that you and he have an even deeper bond than what you would see with a normal parent and their child, because his life started out with so much turmoil.
Mm-hmm. His life started with turmoil, but I also have to tell you that because he was with me so early on, I tried to have a lot of structure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very hypervigilant about his structure.
Yeah.
And bedtimes, nap times, eating, supplements, you name it. I've been very vigilant.
Yeah.
And I used to call him my Velcro child. He would wrap himself around me, and he wanted to be with me all the time. And, things change. Yeah. He turned a teenager, and that's not so much anymore. But
yeah, is he 15 now?
He's 15.
Oh my word!
He's almost 15 and a half. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's weird. Like 32 years in business, Gabriel's 15 and a half, and those were things I thought were never going to happen for me.
Both of those milestones.
Milestones.
Yeah,
milestones. Yeah.
What do you feel when you think about your business being 32 years old?
So awkward.
Awkward?
So awkward. It's just, first of all, it's amazing. And in today's world, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, in a million different ways, I shouldn't still be here. There's been times where I was literally throwing in the towel. 2 years ago, It was this close to selling. And the sale fell through at the very, very end of December, and I had 2 weeks to decide, what do I do, shut down or take another lease? And so I've been that close a lot of times, thinking that, I can't do this anymore, and I don't know what I'm thinking, because
what are you thinking?
I've got years left. years.
What were you thinking when you were going to sell it? That's a shock to me. Did your customers know?
I moved back to St. Johnsbury.
Okay.
Yes, my customers did know. It was not a happy time.
I'm sure it was very upsetting.
Not a happy time at all. And then I was just more confused. I was like, I was thinking I was, going to work in St. Johnsbury somewhere, and that it would be easier for Gabe and I. And what I really realized now is, it's another whole shift in his life. The last thing he's going to do is hang out with his mom all the time. So he doesn't, and he doesn't need me there all the time. So it only made sense when it didn't sell, for me to just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And so through everything that's happened, my biggest, hardest time in my life brought me to the absolute best thing in my life. You know, if I had to say I can only pick one best thing, I'd have to say sobriety. Because I've gotten everything else because of that. Direct result of being sober, I got to become a mom. I can remember being 17, and I was really smart, and I was not going to college. I wanted to get a job, and I wanted a house, and I wanted a white picket fence.
Yeah.
And I wanted a baby. And those were my aspirations. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I got Miss Congeniality Award. I got all these awards at graduation, and none of that mattered. I wanted a house and a husband and a white picket fence and a baby. And when that couldn't happen for me, because I'm not really good at relationships, and I couldn't bear children, and there was too many other things consuming my money, so I didn't have money for a house. I just staggered through life trying to find my way, filling it, with a lot of things. But when that pivotal day happened in 2007, my entire life changed. And for the good. Really hard, but for the good.
Yeah.
I always know if it's hard, some things happen easy. But if it's hard, or it takes some effort, or it takes some solution, you got to have a solution-based mind to say, how am I going to do this differently today than I did yesterday? And that's what I do today.
Yeah.
I was taught that by people just like me who had suffered from the same demons, and those people taught me those things. Those people are the people that taught me that I give more than I receive. I'd like to say it was my family, circle back to a half an hour ago. And I love my family. Oh my God, I love my family. I cherish my brothers and sisters. I truly am so grateful that I have my brothers and sisters. And my mom and dad are gone, and my mom, when she died, was another pivotal moment. That was when I really wanted to give up. It's hard to be without your mom when all you wanted was her love. And I didn't want to be without my mom no matter what. And I was one of her caretakers for the last several years, so it was pretty difficult. But my brothers and sisters are everything to me. And I used to not even answer their phone calls. So they're super important. Super important. I don't have a great big circle of friends. I don't go out. I don't go out for coffee. I very rarely go out to eat. I don't do a lot of, like, people say, oh, you gotta do something fun. Well, I do it every day. Every day. I get to be a mom.
Yeah.
I get to sweep off my own front porch. I have a white picket fence in my backyard that I scraped and primed and painted. And my brother, my oldest brother, installed it on new posts for me just so I could have those 2 white pieces of a picket fence.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think you recently shared a photo of your house all lit up.
I did. I love my little house. It's like a gingerbread house.
Yeah. Is the fence in that photo?
It's in the backyard.
It's in the back?
I'll send you a photo.
Okay.
I have a hand-painted wooden fence out back too. My brothers both made me, and my ex-employee, Amanda, is an artist, and she came over and painted huge sunflowers all over it. Oh,
that's beautiful.
It's a little oasis back there.
Nice. Well, things are starting to make sense to me about why you are the person that you are. It was a really important story, I think, that people needed to hear, maybe that didn't know, or maybe that needed to remember, that already knew. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
That was pretty deep. I didn't know that I was going to come out. Oh my gosh.
That was good. I appreciate that. And, you know, just hearing about you almost closing and getting a sense of the resilience that you've built over all of this time and all of these trials and tribulations in your life. And then hearing you talk about the people that supported you, like you didn't do it alone.
I didn't.
No.
Never been alone.
It's so beautiful. It's really, this station, but my show is really about celebrating our community. And I think that your story really does that in a really wonderful way. It's powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just me that got supported either. It was Gabriel. Like even, I mean, I wouldn't know how to do something, or I would panic and I would be too afraid to ask. And somebody would say, oh, here, let me help you with that. And every single time, you know, I would say, oh, I wouldn't know to do that. Or so, you know, it was a whole learning experience. He just had people supporting him, you know.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We've got 4 minutes left.
Oh my God.
It went by so fast.
You're kidding me.
I know. I'm sure you have more stories to share. But I do want to be respectful of our time together. I'm curious what you see on the horizon at this point.
I'm going to be 100% serious.
Okay, I'm ready.
I just want to see the horizon.
Yeah.
I'm literally doing this one day at a time.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I signed a 3-year lease, which is great. I might be here another 15. Who knows? I might have some great big thing come up in 3 years. I'm going to do everything that I do, whether at my business or at home, with my family, one day at a time. Because I have to remember certain things come up daily that need my attention more than where I thought it was going.
Yeah.
So my path has changed 150 times. So I don't know what I see on the horizon. I just like that I see it.
Yeah.
I like that I'm able to enjoy it. Just keep staying healthy, keeps on these healthy journeys, to keep myself rolling along. When I turn 60, it's, you know, 60 is the new 40, so I got to keep rolling in my 40s. So I don't have any big aspirations of this is what's going to happen now, or I don't know. I see the sunshine. I see it's a beautiful day to be alive. See, it's a beautiful day to be grateful and to always help somebody. Because really, honestly, you never know what every person is going through. You never know. So, being kind and compassionate and going the extra mile is never going to hurt a person. Just try it.
And there's our mic drop. There's nothing that I can say that needs to be added to that. I mean, thank you for reminding me and all of our listeners of what's truly important. And let's just look at today and appreciate what we've been given.
Yes, absolutely.
And Barbara, speaking of gratitude, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing such a close story, you know, so something so meaningful to you with our listeners, for being open and real. I mean, it's why I invited you on, because I knew you would. I knew you would do
be
that.
Real. Yes.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For all of our listeners, you're listening to WZNC LP Bethlehem, North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, and streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. Thanks so much for being here with me. Truly, just by listening, you're helping keep these kinds of conversations alive, and that matters more than people realize. If something from today stuck with you, or if there's someone you think I should have on the show, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me at amanda@clearviewadvantage.com. And if you want to catch up on past episodes or share one with someone else, you can always find them at clearviewadvantage.com/podcast. This has been North of Normal with Amanda McKeen featuring Barbara Emmons. I'll be back next Tuesday with my next guest, live from 10 to noon. Until then, stay grounded, stay curious, and stay a little north of normal. Barbara, thanks again.
Thank you, Amanda.